Hey guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and we got the other camera working, so thank you, goodness, because the refresh the computer worked. But there is some big tea spill going on in the Delphi case. William Lebrato, one of Judge Gull's handpicked Allen County public defenders, decided to go on court TV and be interviewed. And it seems like, much to Judge Gull and the state's chagrin, he agrees with the OG defense. Now, this is going to be somewhat choppy because I'm trying to leave all commentary from court TV out until they release, the actual full just interview. But I did want to sort of go through more pertinent things that he did say. So I am trying to respect the fact that this is their interview and leave their commentary, but get this out to you with my thoughts and my fabulous wig and the Friberto. So let's get into this. Alrighty, that is William Lebrato. Now, as I previously stated, I believe his wife and Judge Gull are friends. I did a earlier video about how she had liked several photos with grandchildren, I believe, or different minor children playing in a baseball tournament dedicated to Abby and Libby, the victims of this case, and how she also, Judge Gull, also liked several of his wife or his vacation pictures on Facebook, and how, in an ordinary case, that could be just, friends liking things. But in a case like this, it really, well, it didn't help the sort of appearance of something a little bit hinky going on. So I believe I've got all the sound boosters on and the closed captions. So let's get into this. And I am going to try to baconate it just a tiny bit. Okay.
Robert and I were going to lunch, and we saw a Jeep Wrangler right here in Fort Wayne with a spare tire on the back, and the cover said Odin, and it had all Odin's.
So I don't mean to stop right in the middle of this, but what he is talking about is the previous question, and they did sort of have overlapping commentary, and I don't want to get a copyright strike. But he was asked about the Odinism aspect, and he is going to admit that he did kind of have the sort of man, bear, pig, what is going on here? What in the Walmart rapture, sweet asteroid of, death kind of thing is going on here, until he started digging into the case and how very prevalent it is in this particular area, and the everyday occurrence of, signs of this particular brand of Odinism or subsect is.
Spears like around on the cover. I would have never known what that meant, and outside of this case. So Mr. Baldwin and Mr. Rosie were onto something right away.
You described one of those officers that's mentioned in one of Rosie and Baldwin's filings, Sergeant Jones, who was wearing patches that said "In Odin We Trust" on his Department of Corrections uniform.
Yep.
The judge ordered.
Now, again, I don't mean to pause every 5 seconds, but I mean, and I just went over, I did make a video about the state's rebuttal in The State Strikes Back, saying that none of this is really true, that there were gross exaggerations. And I'm sorry for this unfortunate pause. Well, okay, maybe her eyebrows are just that. So the state contends that both defenses, the OG defense and the hand-picked defense, are grossly exaggerating the Odinism claims, the ill treatment of of Mr. Richard Allen. So it is maddening that you can have 4 lawyers, 1 independent investigator, all of which who have signed affidavits, which, if they were called into court and had to testify on, would result in professional sanctions and career loss, very harsh penalties should they lie on these documents. And the state is basically saying, nah.
The warden to make them stop. And then what did you notice?
That Mr. Jones had it tattooed under his right eye. From the best we can tell, it looks a lot like Odin's spear. And he had several tattoos on his forearms, including the interlocking triangles that are on his Facebook post. I got to give credit to Mr. Rosie and Mr. Baldwin that, they picked up on that. We saw him, and, confinement officers at the Allen County Jail aren't even allowed to have facial hair, let alone facial tattoos. I was a little miffed that the warden allowed that, or, he even knew what it was.
So it is really quite alarming. I would not be shocked, and I am really hoping that they, like I said, I don't want to steal, their sort of commentary on this, and I think they will be. I think they will be releasing more of the interview, but what I foresee happening, kind of scuttlebutt behind the scenes, also, my own speculation. So take it as such. This is me being speculative and a layperson and not a lawyer. Now that this has garnered national attention, now that we have a former attorney that's worked on the case going public with this sort of shenanigans, I do believe that in the next day or 2 day, possibly, we will be looking at the state overseeing Department of Corrections board looking for a full inquiry on this. Excuse me, I think I'm battling getting sick. The youngest, most feral, is dealing with the throat tickle, and I think he has been most generous with it, which is always nice. Sharing is caring, as he likes to remind me when he steals my drink, even though he's been reminded that that is the way we share germs and not the way we share drinks. So, life with young children. But I do foresee that because this has been shown to be a problem on the national scale, I do foresee that the state governing board of the, Indiana Department of Corrections is going to launch a formal inquiry over this. Now, whether it's going to be publicly announced, i.e. they're going to put out a press release. Optically, I think that's going to look better. Again, this is wild speculation. Take it with a grain of salt. I am a former theater kid who wears wigs and, commentates on the internets. But this case has gone full FUBAR, and I think the only thing that higher ups can do is order a total investigation in what is going on in the Department of Corrections as far as this Odinist stuff is going, as far as the different criteria of what it is to be a guard, how you can get away with having all these face tattoos and these different, patches and different, modifications to a professional uniform, different, regulation violations that are alleged. I think that if I were a betting gal, that's what I'd bet on, but I don't gamble. So, take that for what it's worth. I believe now we're going to the part of the interview where William Lebrato is going to explain or describe how how he was trying to, basically do his job as a defense attorney with Richard Allen in the Wabash Valley Correctional Facility. This would be through the steel door flap. Remember, the state said this was fine. Richard Allen could see. The state alleges that the lawyers didn't bring their laptops. Richard Allen's always had a tablet. Richard Allen was complaining of self-deletion, so for his safety, he was not allowed to have recreation for a time. But, for his safety, once that critical time had passed, he has been allowed to have recreational time. This is all being blown out of proportion. You silly, silly 4 lawyers and 1 investigator. So let's see what he has to say.
Visitation, but you can't have I couldn't have been prepared for trial even October if that was how all the visits were going to be conducted.
And you've handled death penalty cases. Have you ever had a pre-trial defendant treated the same way as Richard Allen?
Never. Never. In my 25 years or Stremin's 25 years have we ever had a murder client held pre-trial in a maximum security facility and then was transferred from one maximum security facility to another. Never.
And in your
Look at the bewilderment. And that is, again, according to Scuttlebutt, and take this again with a grain of salt, but this has never happened in Indiana, according to a lot of defense attorneys. I'm going to try to have Kara Winicky, one of the lawyers that worked on the Supreme Court. Oh gosh, I am so sorry, guys. I am having a brain fart. Writ of mandamus, the stop order to try to get both the original defense team and I believe Judge Gull removed. I am going to try to get an interview with her this weekend to try to get her opinion on some of this stuff that's going on. So please stay tuned to that. I am really trying to stay on top of this. But the general consensus from a lot of defense attorneys that, I have asked her, well, do you know other people that have gone through this? Is this, something that is rare but has happened in high profile cases? And the general consensus is no, this has never happened. We don't understand why this is happening. This is what is going on, is the general consensus.
Your motion to transfer, you guys described him as being treated like Hannibal Lecter.
Particularly in Westville, at least we are allowed to sit face to face across a table from him. But the way he was handcuffed and to his chest, it looked extraordinarily uncomfortable. I couldn't shake his hand. We couldn't have him sign anything. I visited clients in prison on several occasions. That was different than anything I've ever experienced before.
And the way his hands were shackled were similar to how we see him in court, right?
Yes,
Where
exactly
it's like
the same
the
way.
tops of the hands are touching.
Yes.
And it's way up high on his chest.
It's connected to a box on his chest. I've never seen that. I've never seen anyone confined in that manner before.
So why? Why do you think that is?
I don't know. He is 5'6", 120, 130 pounds. He is not a physical threat to anyone. From all accounts, he's been a model citizen because he's locked down 23 hours a day. We told the confinement officers that we wanted him unhandcuffed so we could shake his hand and maybe have him sign documents, and they weren't budging on that.
This is really upsetting. And look, I get it. I get there's a portion of, people that watch this case that thinks he is all the guilty. I get that. But right now, in the eyes of our law, he is an innocent man being held in a maximum security, you know, 23 hours a day isolation box, 1 hour a day recreation, which, let's be very honest, if they have him trussed up like a Thanksgiving turkey, he's not getting, allegedly, for legal purposes. And when you have lawyers, defense lawyers who have worked 25 years, done, death penalty cases, done, all sorts of public defenders, they do every case that comes across to them, and they've never seen someone treated like this. Something hinky is going on. What is going on? Richard Allen is not a big man. What do they think he's going to do? Do they think he's going to go full on Jason Bourne on someone? It doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. If the state wants us to stop poking at it, make it make sense.
And it was sad because Westville allows visits, so his wife could come see him. And they just set up a visit with his mom and dad. He was transferred to Wabash 2 days before that visit. No, I don't think one had anything to do with the other. I just think it was bad timing and a coincidence. But in Wabash, you're not allowed any visits. Obviously, attorney, but no family members.
They are punishing this man for what? Did he see something? Did he threaten to say something? I mean, I'm almost ready to go full tin hat on this. I am, the more that comes out, the more I am livid. And I can't wait for the full interview to come out. I am so glad. Now, I won't play this, but this is the door through which they had to sit 6 feet away and show Mr. Allen both files and any sort of video evidence that they had. Y'all, just a normal day in the Richard Allen case. And again, my Fribert has left me. I realize at the bottom of this that so many people want justice for these girls. And I want justice for these girls. Whatever's going on here isn't that. And regardless of whether you feel like Richard Allen is the most guilty of the guiltiest or innocent, or you don't know, you would like to be just shown evidence, I think we can all agree that what is going on here isn't justice and shouldn't be tolerated. And I do hope that William Lebrato coming out and giving an interview, showing pictures, spilling the tea, giving receipts really does change the narrative, really does show things off. There is a petition on change.org to encourage Judge Gull to remove thyself from Richard Allen's case. I am going over to sign it, and I encourage you to sign it. But as I have always said, I am simply an ex-theater kid who wears wigs. I don't want to tell you guys how to think. So if you agree, I would encourage you to go sign it. But if you don't agree, goodness gracious, don't go sign it. But, have a wonderful day. And I hope this has really shed some light. And I think this really kind of, well, it tells old Randall Mr. McClelland, state's attorney, to go stuff it a little, which I am always a fan of because smarmy Randall from Recess, hall monitor suck ups who don't tell the truth and want to be kiss asses definitely deserve a little comeuppance once in a while. So thank you for bringing the receipts, Mr. Lebrato. Thank you for spilling the tea and shining the light and, admitting you were wrong. I think that is a very cool, very awesome trait when you can admit, hey, you know what? I thought this was kind of BS, but I'm willing to say I was completely wrong, and that is really, really cool. So thank you so much. I await the full interview. I really hope that Court TV puts it up soon instead of these little teasers. I do understand that they have the exclusive though, and good on them for getting that. I mean, that's pretty awesome. So have a wonderful day, guys. Reach out to someone. It's been a rough couple years. Say something nice to yourself. It has been a long, it's been a year of a January. Let's be honest. And say something nice to someone else. Have a wonderful day. I will see you for Nightly Newsy News and all the shenanigans. Have a great day. Bye, guys.